Las Vegas, Saturday coming. Hitchens Richardson takes on Gustavo Lemos from Argentina. He's 28 years of age, 29 wins, no losses, no draws, 19 inside the distance. Hitchens is 26 years of age, 17-0, 7 inside the distance. Now, it's an eliminator for the IBF title. I've already broke the fight down. Hitchens has massive advantages in height and reach, and it's virtually impossible for Gustavo to win a boxing match. He'll have to get inside them long arms and work Hitchens over and hurt him to the body. Because I can't even say that Lemos is a one-hitter quitter. He's a hard puncher, but let's face it, with that jab that Hitchens has, he's a huge favourite going into this. He's got a 74-inch reach, 5'10". The real question is how long he can keep making 140. A division that is bubbling right now. You've got Ryan and Devin coming up soon. A matter of weeks. We saw Dalton Smith the other week destroy Zabeda in 5, who took Hitchens the distance in Hitchens' last outing. An upset, always possible. Always possible. But what we're looking at really in this eliminator is star quality in arguably the hottest division in the game. Is Hitchens overcautious is the question. Are there punch resistance issues that haven't manifested yet why he is overcautious? I don't know. I'm asking the questions. But if you watch this guy fight on Saturday, his jab is like a laser. One of the best in the game. And with a jab like that, you should be setting up more stoppages, even if you're not a Julian Jackson type puncher. Lemos is a brawler with a high work rate, and he's easy to hit. Lee Selby had him cut and was landing full-blooded right hands, which Lemos never looked like slipping or anything like that. So he's there to be hit, but he'll keep coming and he'll keep swinging. It's the perfect opponent for a boxer puncher. And that's what Hitchens has to show us, that boxer puncher. Break him down. Show the arsenal to see some uppercuts and some dazzling shit. Hitchens won't be looking forward to the rehydration clause, which the IBF enforce in their eliminators and title fights. Being he's a big light welter, I think they should be done with that rehydration clause. Either weigh the fighters in on the same day or leave the fighters alone after they weigh in the day before. Lemos, not a big light welterweight by any means. He's 5'5". He started at 135. So the rehydration clause may be actually in his favour. On the undercard, we got Sky Nicholson taking on Sarah Mahfoud for the vacant WBC featherweight title. I guess that's one of the straps that Amanda Serrano vacated. Mark Castro continues his journey as a prospect, 11-0. He's on the card at Super Feather. Olympic gold medalist Galal Yafai, 6-0 as a pro, takes on the 23-1 Augustine Gato. Galal defending that WBC international title. Eddie's talking about Galal versus Sonny Edwards this year. And one of my favourites, Diego Pacheco, 20-0, 17 inside the distance, super middleweight. Takes on the tough, I hear he's very tough, I haven't seen him fight, Sean McCalman, who's 15-0. That's all on DAZN this Saturday coming.
You've been calling out my name. No, David. You don't want to fight him. David. No problem. Do you believe in? Do you believe in him?
We've got another route.
No. Do you believe in him?
I believe him. I wouldn't promote him if I didn't believe in him.
Okay. I'll make a deal with you. It's all good, man. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. So listen, David. In front of the British public on live television, I'll make a deal with you right now. If he beats me, you write me a check of £1. Yeah? If I beat him, you give me your purse against Tony and your TV rights. Yes.
No.
No? So the fight is not happening. So don't say my name ever again, because if you do, it's on.
Derek doing a bit of swerving on the Joe Joyce fight back in 2018. That was post-fight after Derek knocked out Zachary Azusa. Then I believe Joyce went his way, left ringmaster, Hay ringmaster. And then we had the odd pairing where David Hay became Chisora's manager, I believe, for the Dillian White fight. And as 2024, Derek Chisora informs us that he has had an offer from Frank Warren to take the Joe Joyce fight. Joyce said he's been asking for that fight for a little while. And I guess Derek with not as many options as he had back in 2018, is mulling it over. What card it happens on? Well, we're a bit way off from even talking about that. Saudi Arabia has to be a strong favourite. Derek said he wanted to get to 50 fights and then he'll call it quits. He's 3 fights away from that. Joyce, if this was 2022 and we was talking about a Joyce Chisora fight, everybody would have been saying that Joyce is going backwards. This is an awful matchup. But after that 2023 Joyce had with the 2 Zhang losses, and then in 2024, just the other week, he returned against Cash Ali and didn't look too impressive. There perhaps may be less skepticism about that fight happening now. Probably looks a little more realistic than it would have done a year and so back. I've done a Google poll. 77% think Joyce would win. 23% think Chisora would win. The reception, from what I'm gathering, most people don't want to see it. I don't mind seeing it. I think it's a okay fight. You know, nobody complains when Joyce fights the likes of Michael Wallace, Cash Ali, but when he's fighting Derek Chisora, that's an issue. I don't get that. I think Derek's still got some good fights in him. He's not going to win the world title. Probably not going to rise above a certain level in the rankings. But I still think he's got a place in the game, whether it's as a gatekeeper or the possible upset here and there. I think he still has a place. But I understand I'm in the minority. But I'm not a follower either, so I won't mind Derek getting to his 50 fights. Even fighting the likes of Deontay Wilder, I won't mind seeing it. I want to big up Owen Lewis, boxing scene, asking how much does Lomachenko actually have left. Now, why I want to big him up is because there's certain fighters who have fans, whether they're in the media or just regular fans, who become totally irrational when you assess the truth about a fighter. They can't separate the legend from what is the state of play in 2024. They can't separate that. Like, when I started making tweets about this fight against Kambosos, he's the Matrix. Kambosos won't lay a glove on him. Hold on. Are we talking about the same guy who was being outboxed for considerable periods by Jose Pedraza? Was outboxed in the first half against Linares and dropped. But yes, he came back to win because he is a special fighter, yes. But all this Matrix gliding through opponents at 135 and not getting touched is not real. Go watch the Luke Campbell fight. It's not real. I mean, the overreaction when he didn't get the result against Devin Haney was a little pathetic. Let's keep it real. And as the guy points out, Devin hammered this guy with some hard body shots. Loma rallied back to make it close on the scorecards, no doubt. But he's taken a year out. He needed a year out. This is a survivor of 2 Olympic campaigns, winning campaigns. This is his 3rd weight class. And what a lot of these newbies don't understand, being a 36-year-old lightweight is different from being a 36-year-old heavyweight. And he's not a 36-year-old lightweight fighting at prelim level. He's fighting world-class opponents. Jermaine Ortiz, Devin Haney. These are skilled lightweights who are now fighting at 140. He opted to take a year out. He opted not to fight Shakur Stevenson for one of them vacant straps that Devin left behind. Why? Because he's scared of Shakur? No, because the fight is too tough at this age. It's too tough. And that commute to Australia, for whatever reason, I've never worked it out, is very difficult. Very difficult. And Kambosos is going to be fighting in front of his home fans. Do you think he's going to want to get embarrassed for a 3rd time? Not saying Haney embarrassed him, to be honest. But they were both one-sided boxing lessons. He'll be keen not to repeat a 3rd loss in Australia. He'll be keen not to repeat. Also, Loma doesn't have the height, reach, and athleticism of a Haney. Doesn't have that. He can't keep the fight at the same range Devin did. Devin barely got hit. This is going to be a tough fight. Possibly a controversial decision. All this, he's going to win every round and the crowd are going to be screaming Olay as he matadors the hapless Kambosos around the ring. It's not going to happen, folks. Then they go to the Maxi Hughes fight. Maxi was robbed against Kambosos. He can't beat Lomachenko. Yeah, George Kambosos also beat Teofimo Lopez, who beat Lomachenko. Now, neither triangle theory or matchup theory may come into play. But you can't support one and ignore the other. Lomachenko does not have the same dimensions as Maxi Hughes. We saw Maxi go in with William Sabeda and get torn apart. Quick. But I guess if Lomachenko was fighting William Sabeda, he'd just walk through him too. Why? Because Zabeda struggled with Jojo Diaz. And I'm going to say what I'm going to say. You're going to laugh. But I'm going to say it because I know more about boxing than you. Jojo Diaz at 135 gives Lomachenko a hard fight. What? You don't know nothing about boxing. You're comparing Kambosos versus Maxi Hughes to Lomachenko. Did Maxi have to leap in to land shots against Kambosos? No. Lomachenko has to leap in to land shots against these big 135 pounders who eventually go up to 140. He has to leap in to try and land shots. You think 36-year-old lightweights who are not natural lightweights want to be doing all that leaping in, leaving themselves exposed to getting countered? Doesn't make sense what these... I'm picking Lomachenko to win. A tough fight. Not no easy Matrix fanboy dream performance. 12th of May, and I'm not a Lomachenko hater either. I'm a realist. We're dealing with a certain Hall of Famer. No doubt about that. One of the best of our generation. But a year out for a 36-year-old lightweight does what? That's what they're not getting. He needs longer to recuperate between bouts than the younger Lomachenko. He's not Superman. David Benavidez is apparently moving up to light heavy to challenge the likes of Wodzik and, if he's successful, challenge the winner of Bivol Beterbiev. But everything seems to be Canelo. He deserves respect from Canelo. Canelo wants 150 to 200 million to fight me. Not even the promotional companies make that. Canelo uses his fans to downplay my accomplishments, and if I say anything, I'm a hater. Now, I would agree with Benavidez if he was staying at 168, but apparently he's moved up to 175. He was on that Fresh and Fit podcast. Did he say anything about Wodzik or Bivol Beterbiev ever? I don't know. He says he's been Canelo's mandatory for 3 years. This has never happened. Oh, it's happened worse than that in history, but we won't get into that for now. Here's the issue I have, yeah? I believe Canelo had one strap at the time, and he was trying to make the Caleb Plant fight. And both Caleb and Benavidez are PBC fighters. They both had an opportunity when they were strapped up to make a unification. They didn't take it. Plant told the A-side Canelo, why don't you go get all them other belts and come back to me when the negotiation fell through? That's what he told the A-side. And Canelo did that and bashed him up. David has lost his belts on the scale because he's tested for recreational substances. Didn't enter the WBSS tournament to face the likes of Callum Smith and George Groves and Eubank. When Canelo wasn't at 168, you could have did more. That's the whole point. And I'm going to stick with that. I don't care what nobody says or how much you want to throw Canelo under the bus. That's your shtick. I look at the timeline and what you could have done to make yourself more relevant. When Canelo was fighting the likes of Triple G, Lara, etc., what was David Benavidez doing with his career? Canelo don't owe David Benavidez respect. And likewise, Benavidez doesn't owe Canelo respect, but it's Benavidez who wants to fight. It's him chasing the fight. But Jaime Munguia, his take on the respect argument, and he threw David a little shot when he said it. This might divide Mexico, but it will unite Mexico, because they'll be watching the fight. This is going to be a great fight. This was earned with respect and a lot of work. That's something other fighters have not done. Taking a little shot at Benavidez, saying basically he doesn't respect Canelo. Canelo alluded to Jaime's respect being a factor in why he's getting the fight. Jaime is disciplined. He's a power puncher. I like a challenge. I like to face fighters who are hungry like I am. Jaime is respectful and a great fighter. He's earned his chance. And like it or not, Jaime's approach has won out. Now, Jaime's approach has got mixed receptions, and I understand where a lot of people are coming from. Is Jaime going to go in there too respectful? On some fanboy shit, asking for autographs while Canelo's punching him in his face? We hope not. Canelo has been a source of pride and motivation for me, Jaime said. When I was growing up, I used to think I want to be like him. The respect is mutual. Now, Jaime is in a co-promotional situation with Zanfa and Golden Boy. He's not exclusively a Golden Boy fighter. And I believe he's been told, maybe by Zanfa, don't follow the Oscar De La Hoya line of disrespecting Canelo in public or you're never going to get the fight. Because if this was up to Oscar De La Hoya and Jaime wasn't with Zanfa, he wouldn't be getting this fight. Now, I don't mind debating this issue with people. But one thing I'm not going to debate is, well, why should he show him respect? Canelo should just fight him. Well, the bottom line is, I can't force Canelo into the ring of Benavidez, and neither can you. All I know is if he goes into this light heavyweight campaign, Benavidez, talking about Canelo every second, a beatdown awaits. Time to stop talking about 168 if you're moving up. Time to stop. Benavidez sounds like a fighter who is not enthusiastically moving up to 175. Moving out of the comfort zone of not having the rehydration advantage on his opponents or using Canelo as a crutch for why his career hasn't gone anywhere. When Canelo was David Benavidez's age, he already started a blockbuster pay-per-view with Floyd Mayweather, which he lost. He was a two-weight world champion at 154-160. He beat the likes of Trout, Erislandy Lara, Drew Triple G, and beat him once. Their resumes are not comparable. You have to ask yourself, how is it that Benavidez had a belt at 168 when Canelo wasn't even thinking about that division? And then in 2024, Canelo ends up with all four straps and Benavidez is begging him for a fight with no leverage. Now, some of them decisions he won, Canelo, were very dodgy. But the facts are, he went out there and competed and he got what he got. He got his results. Benavidez hasn't did that. And if David Benavidez was to have upped his competition, if he moved up in weight, as he should have done, at a similar timeline that Canelo did at a similar age, he'd have dodgy decisions and L's on his record. And I wouldn't say I'm starting to swing with the Canelo fans, saying that they don't have to fight Benavidez, but they have a case. AJ was on the Jonathan Ross show, I haven't seen it, and he alluded to September to when he'll return to the ring. Now, 5 versus 5 is on June the 1st. Press conference, April the 15th. We'll know who's fighting who and all the details and everything we need to know. Derek Chisora is speculating that Hrgovic will fight Daniel Dubois, Matchroom versus Queensbury, and AJ will fight the winner in September for the IBF belt that will go vacant in the event of a winner between Usyk and Fury on May the 18th.
Moving forward, got some fresh quotes from Anthony Joshua off the back of the Jonathan Ross show. He's planning to retire in 2 years or so. Initially, it was age 35, which I believe is this October, but now he reckons he'll stick around for 2 years. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I think he's in the form of his life. I think he's enjoying his boxing more than ever. And while you're doing that, why not stay as long as you can? Obviously, there comes a time where you're not the fighter you once were. Many people still carry on a successful career at that point, but some people don't need to. I think when the heart and the desire goes and the ability goes or the sharpness goes, it's time to walk away. So right now, I'm as excited about AJ's career as I've ever been, and I think he is as well. Ben's doing a great job. He's back in training now, firing on all cylinders. 2 years is about right. He wants to fight around August time, something like that. Then hopefully he gets the winner of Usyk against Fury, a couple of fights next year. And then what else is there to do?
I was going to say, he can do it all in that 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the dream has always been to be undisputed. I believe his next fight will either be for the world title or be for undisputed. So he's in a great position.
The exit strategy, the retirement. Every boxer has to approach this point at some stage in their career. The analogy I will use is the dismount to finish a gymnastic routine. Because basically, you could do a brilliant routine, flawless, and then your dismount ends up like Roy Jones's, the back end of his career. Mayweather, Marciano, they got out still champions, undefeated. Lennox Lewis, he got out still champion, but there's not many of them. Will AJ be able to fulfill all his ambitions, get that undisputed title, the domestic showdown with Tyson Fury? get some get back against Alexander Usyk. He'll be 35 in October, meaning early 2026 will be when the planned retirement takes place. See, a lot of people are saying, well, he's been active, why doesn't he stay active? Well, he has been active, but we always say that activity is the key, and it is the key to good performance in the ring. But there's also a lot of injuries with the constant training camps, and he's obviously picking up injuries, as good as he's been looking in the ring recently. In all truth, you know, we're looking at the top 4 or 5, Usyk, AJ, Fury, Wilder. We could be looking at 2 years max before they hang the gloves up. It'll be a huge loss to Matchroom. Will they be able to replace, for want of a better word, a commodity like Anthony Joshua?